Hi friends, welcome back to Homestead on a Prayer. As you can see, it's a beautiful day outside today. We're in my garden and we are going to be talking about preserving herbs today. Dried herbs are great and there's definitely a place for them in the kitchen, but there's some herbs that just really aren't the same when they're dried. You think of like basil especially, parsley, dill, cilantro, a lot of herbs like that just don't have the same flavor. They don't really have the same essence when they're dried. And so for those kind of herbs, I like to preserve them a little bit differently. So today we're going to be working with parsley. So let's go gather up my parsley, and then we're going to talk a little more about how we're going to preserve it so that it tastes fresh even months later. So I've got this beautiful parsley plant here. It's nice and big and it's really thriving. It is starting to get flowers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes I do let my parsley go to seed. It's great for the pollinators. You get a little bit more of a continued harvest from it, and then you can collect seeds from it. But this parsley here is growing in a space that I really need for another pepper plant. You can see we planted peppers together a few days ago, and some of them are in this bed here. I have another plant that needs to go here, so I'm going to have to take out this parsley. I do have parsley growing in other places that's new this year, so I'm going to let that continue growing. We're going to take this in and we're going to preserve it. So I'm just going to take this parsley, I'm going to cut all the stems off close to the base. I don't want to just rip this up by the roots. You certainly could do that. The reason I'm not going to is because I don't want to get dirt on my parsley. I want to keep it as clean as possible. So you can see I've got a nice big bunch of parsley here. Let's take this into the kitchen and get preserving. Okay, so we've got all our parsley in the house. You can see I put the stems into a jar of water because, as is often the case in life, I brought it in and then a lot of stuff came up and I wasn't able to get to it right away. So if you're not able to deal with your herbs, if you're not able to preserve your herbs right away, just stick the stems in a glass of water and they'll be fine for a little while. So what we're going to do with this parsley, I'm going to remove the stems and chop them up just like I would if I was using it for a recipe. Then I'm going to take this ice cube tray and I'm going to fill all of the ice cube compartments with the chopped celery. So to decide how to freeze these herbs, you kind of want to think first about how you're going to use them once they're defrosted. So for example, if I'm planning to use some of this parsley in some soup that I might cook in the winter, I'm going to then cover the parsley that I've put in the ice cube tray with chicken broth. The chicken broth will completely coat the parsley and basically create an ice cube around it, preserving it almost as if it was fresh. If I'm going to want to use this in some sort of olive oil based sauce, then in that case, instead of freezing it in chicken broth, I would want to freeze it in olive oil. You just kind of want to think about how you cook with these herbs to decide what is the best way to freeze them. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to fill up this ice cube tray with chopped parsley. I'm going to freeze about half of it with chicken broth and half of it with olive oil, just so I can show you the difference. Okay, so we've got our parsley preserved. That's all it is. It's so easy. You can see here, I've got a bag of the ice cubes of parsley frozen in chicken broth. And over here is a bag of the parsley frozen in olive oil. So I'm just going to keep those in freezer bags in my refrigerator until I need them. And by the end of the season, I'll have lots of frozen herbs preserved for winter use. So I hope that you're inspired to try this. It's so easy. This is my all-time favorite way to preserve basil because dry basil really just isn't the same. But by coating the herbs in the chicken broth or the olive oil, you're really preserving it from freezer burn, from drying out, from just anything that's going to take away from that delicious fresh flavor. So right now we're in our abundant season of harvest, and going into summer, it's going to get even more abundant and fruitful. And I hope that you will take advantage of this time, and during this time, use some of that abundance just to set aside and to have stored up just to get you through winter. I know I'm going to be doing that at my house, and I hope that you will too. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Hope you have a good day. Bye. See you later.